Hello and welcome to Allegedly Astrology. Each week, we break down the astrology that happened during some of the biggest scandals and events in history.
Thanks so much to everyone for listening to our show. If you want to support us, you can leave us a 5-star review and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
And if you do leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify and DM us a screenshot of your review, we'll make you a custom meme of your big three and send you a quick write-up about it.
We also have a very cool and exclusive Patreon, so if you want more awesome astrology content, join us at patreon.com/allegedlyastrology.
And make sure you follow us. We're actually posting quite regularly now. So we're Allegedly Astrology on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, and Allegedly Astro on Twitter/X, as it's now called. And you can also visit our website, allegedlyastrology.com, to learn more about us and the show.
You can also book a reading with me at astrologyreadingsbydana@gmail.com. That email is linked in the show notes. Hit me
It
up.
sure is. All right, so Dana, what are we talking about today?
Catherine O'Hara.
Love
A fan
her. Of ours, a true legend. But if you don't know, Catherine O'Hara is a Canadian-American actress and comedian whose career in comedy and film spanned over 50 years before her tragic passing in 2026. And she's best known for her roles as Macaulay Culkin's mom in Home Alone, Winona Ryder's mom in Beetlejuice, all of the Christopher Guest mockumentaries. Just, she was amazing in all of them. And of course, Moira Rose in Schitt's Creek.
Yes.
And she's received various accolades, including 2 Primetime Emmys, a Golden Globe, and a SAG Award. Her films have grossed more than $4.3 billion worldwide. So let's learn more about her and her astrology.
I love Catherine so much, but she is originally from Canada. She's the 6th of 7 children of her very Catholic parents, Irish Catholic parents, obviously, Margaret Ann and Marcus Charles O'Hara. And Catherine said everyone in her family was super funny and that her family encouraged her to be funny and impersonate people. So what's her chart like?
It's
Okay, Catherine was born on March 4th, 1954 in Toronto, and she has a Pisces sun and moon. We don't know her rising because we don't know what time she
Wow.
was born. So she's truly a mutable a queen. She's a shapeshifter. She's dreamy. She's talented, very genre flexible, right? Pisces can do drama. They can be funny. They can be what you want them to be, which is great for being an actor. And then she has her Jupiter in Gemini, and it's in mutual reception with her Mercury retrograde in Pisces, which is the means that they rule each other. So her Mercury in Pisces rules her Gemini, her Jupiter in Gemini, and her Jupiter in Gemini rules her Mercury in Pisces. They have this nice little partnership. It's very fun. It's creative. It's very mockumentary, like
Yeah, very
pretending to do something
clown
very
energy.
serious.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
insane. Also, we can rope in her Mars and Sagittarius. She has significant mutable energy. It makes her so funny and able to pursue a joke, I think, without letting ego get in the way. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't necessarily,
that's like
that's what you need to be if you're going to
extremely
be funny.
important in comedy.
Exactly, because
Well,
there's
like-
so many comedians now. Their like egos are
Are, like,
really wrapped up in it.
dickheads. Yeah.
They're like, oh, you can't
And-
take a joke. It's you can't take a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think everyone, especially after she passed, which we'll get into later, like everyone just had the nicest things to say about her.
Truly.
Nobody said she was like a dickhead or
That's so sweet.
compared to Chevy Chase, where everyone's like, this guy fucking sucked. She's like the antithesis.
There literally
of
are so
a
many people
Chevy
who like
Chase.
defend, like in his defense. No one's
Yeah.
ever had to say in her defense.
No.
She also, okay, Saturn in Scorpio is her only non-mutable traditional planet, and this is committed and intense, and also makes her acquainted with darkness enough to transmute anything into farce. Saturn, people don't know this, but historically, anciently, Saturn represented clowns.
Oh,
Really? That doesn't
like
make
a sad
sense.
clown.
I actually don't, I think it represented people being like, this is what it is.
Oh my God. So, Catherine started her comedy career in 1974 as a cast member of the Second City in Toronto. I didn't even know they had a Second City in Toronto.
Yeah, they're not even numbered.
But she was an understudy for Gilda Radner until Radner left for SNL.
And then Catherine joined Second City's touring company, which traveled around the U.S., and she got her big break replacing another comedian in the lead female part when the touring group was in Chicago. Just 2 years later, because of that, Catherine was Second City's resident leading female comic.
Cool.
And if you guys didn't know, Second City actually started in Chicago.
Yeah, facts.
That's so then they started their own sketch comedy TV show called SCTV, where Catherine became a regular performer and writer. And this show became known as groundbreaking Canadian TV sketch comedy.
So funny.
It starred a lot of Canadian comedians like John Candy, Martin Short, Rick Moranis, and her amazing partner in comedy, Eugene Levy.
I actually didn't realize that John Candy or Rick Moranis were
I didn't even know Martin
Canadian.
Short was
Same.
Canadian.
I just saw that right now,
Yeah.
and I love Martin Short.
I know.
So it was her longtime friend Eugene, who she later starred with in Christopher Guest's mockumentaries and Schitt's Creek. So what's their synastry like?
They have
So-
such good on-screen chemistry. I can't wait
know.
to see what this is.
You won't be let down. Eugene was born on December 17th, 1946 in Hamilton, Ontario, and he has a Sagittarius sun and a Libra moon. Sag suns, always funny. Sure. Okay, so both of them have Jupiter
Not
suns.
always.
Yeah.
but yeah.
Jupiter is a planet of goodwill. This is good for having fun together, and they have established trust, right? So when there's
Mhm.
trust, you can say anything, right? Eugene's South Node and Mercury are in Sagittarius conjunct Catherine's Mars, so they're comfortable with each other. The physical and verbal comedy duo. Mars is physical, Mercury is verbal, so they're great. They have all bases covered. They can make the most insane plot, like outlandish, exaggerational. It's very sad, right? And it's just funny. They also, maybe I'm like such a Puritan and I don't even know it, but shit, like I remember being like, oh my God, is shit? Are we just saying shit now? Shit's Creek? And getting away with re-spelling an expletive in a different way in order to say it and anywhere. And then Eugene's Uranus and Gemini is conjunct Catherine's Jupiter. This is maybe my favorite. This is great for improv. It brings the surprise element of great comedy, right? I remember, Sarah, I think we might have talked about it on an episode. You were talking about how comedy and horror are structurally similar because they rely on surprise as like the backbone of their genre.
Yeah.
And I just feel like that, like Uranus in Gemini conjunct Catherine's Jupiter, like that's so perfect for just saying like something so insane and it being
Yeah.
really perfect.
But just like playing off each other so
Yeah.
well, just not like they keep one-upping each other in insanity without breaking. which
Yeah.
is- I love.
And then Eugene has Saturn in Leo, square Catherine, Saturn in Scorpio. So I love, there's always a surprising element in synastry. And this is surprising in a good way. Fixed Saturns are intense. The square creates enough tension to bring different styles of comedy together and make it their own. But it also stabilizes a lot of mutable placements. And it really gives like mockumentary. Leo's a star and Scorpio's a psycho. So it really makes that like that genre into something formidable, tangible.
I
And
love,
I love that for them. And then during a short period when SCTV was between network deals, Catherine was actually hired as a cast member for SNL, but she ended up quitting the show without ever appearing on air and chose to go back to SCTV, which that kind of goes back to the ego thing. Like, I feel like SNL is really the pinnacle for all comedians, but it doesn't work for everyone.
Yeah. I'm sure there's other examples, but I think of like Tim Robinson. Like he was someone who normally you start out as like a writer and then you're like brought to go on camera. Tim Robinson was brought immediately on camera, but he was like so weird that they put him in the writer's room. They were like, actually, he can't be on scene. You're too weird. And then his comedy was still just too weird. So like he eventually left and now I think you should leave. And he just is doing like really well for himself. But
Isn't that
Reminds
movie
me
with
of-
Paul Rudd that it was so awkward I could not make it through the
Friendship.
first half hour. I was like,
Friendship.
I think I watched like
I
19 minutes
if
of
you
it.
made it through, I wish you would because it ended up it's so insane. He's very good at the absurd.
yeah. And like
Respect.
Paul Rudd is so good at being just like friendly neighbor.
Golden
But-
Retriever boyfriend.
Yes. But going back to Catherine, there were rumors that she left SNL due to conflicts with then writer Michael O'Donoghue, who he is famous for making SNL, but he was also known as being like a little bit like volatile. Catherine denied that was the reason, but she said that she just didn't like living in New York. So we'll never know.
We'll never know. But Catherine then started what would become a several decades long movie career with her first role as Judith in 1980's film Double Negative. And then she was cast in Tim Burton's Beetlejuice alongside Michael Keaton, Gina Davis, Alec Baldwin, and Winona Ryder as Winona's mom, Delia.
So Beetlejuice would come to be like a very huge deal in both Catherine's professional and personal life. This film made her a national star. Like everyone knew who she was after being in Beetlejuice. But on the set, she also met her future husband, who was a production designer. His name was Bo Welch. And she would later move to LA to live with him and then have 2 kids. So what was going on when Beetlejuice debuted?
This debuted on March 30th, 1988. The sun was in Aries, the moon was in Virgo. So this is really like a clown trapped in the earth, which is from what I remember and what that movie is about. Eclipses were happening in Pisces and Virgo with the North Node in Pisces, where she has 4 planets, including her sun and moon, Mercury and Venus. And Mercury and the North Node were conjunct her natal Venus. So this is major changes for her in her Pisces house. And then also in the 6th house is ruled by these Pisces planets, which is because Mercury rules the house of Gemini and Virgo. The sun rules the house of Leo. The moon rules the Cancer house. And Venus rules the houses of Taurus and Libra. Most of you probably knew that. In case you didn't, now you do. And then this is also star power growing because the North Node increases things and the sun is a star. It's emotional power and comfort. North Node on Venus is adding popularity, and on her Mercury retrograde, it's humor, chaos, introspection. So Pluto and Scorpio is conjunct her natal Saturn. It's also literally underground. Scorpions go through the earth. It's dark. It's weird. Saturn and Scorpio to me is really rust coal. And I've been rewatching True Detective, so it's very top of mind for me. But it's just also like, honestly, what is Beetlejuice about? Is it like, it's like some other dimension, or is it it's like dirty?
That's interesting because it is so much about death. It's like about the afterlife, but it's also trying to control this like ghost.
Okay.
Because Beetlejuice like lives in their house and they're trying to get rid of him.
That's so funny.
It's like a couple that's haunting their house to try to get rid of these new unbearable residents.
Oh my God, I love that. I haven't seen that movie since I was literally like pre-5.
Oh my God, it's so good. I watch it every Halloween.
Oh, I love that. I should do that. And then Mars in Capricorn is conjunct her natal North Node. So again, this is putting her on the map in a big way. Natal North Node activated on top of transiting North Node, activating natal placements. It's a huge trigger for fated events. Mars is the planet of action. The North Node is fated. So there we go.
Woo! There we go. So after Beetlejuice, she made guest appearances on shows like Tales from the Crypt, Oh Baby, Morton and Hayes, and The Larry Sanders Show, as well as accident-directed episodes of Dream On and The Outer Limit.
Then she starred as Macaulay Culkin's mom.
Macaulay Culkin.
Starred as Macaulay Culkin. Then she starred as Macaulay Culkin's mom, Kate McAllister, in the blockbuster comedy hit Home Alone and Home Alone 2: Lost in New York, which cemented her into the holiday movie Hall of Fame.
Wasn't she only supposed to be like 37 in that movie?
Really?
I
probably
feel like I saw a meme was like,
She like wasn't, she basically was.
But I feel like, yeah, like when I look at that and then I hear what age they're supposed to be, I'm like, I feel like they just look so much older
They just
than
want
30
women who
she
are
was
30.
only she
Like after 35, you had to get a haircut that was made for like the Golden Girls.
Yeah, that's true.
she literally was 37
In the
when
movie?
when that movie
take
came
her face
out.
and put
Like, I
layered
don't
hair
know
on
what
it, you
she was
wouldn't
supposed
be
to be,
surprised,
but
yeah.
yeah, that like 90s mom hair was doing nothing for anyone.
That's like how, what is it? Father of the Bride, where like
Yes.
Diane Keaton is like 33 and you're like,
What?
Yeah.
I
How
just
does
found that
this
out.
make sense? But from there, Catherine appears in a ton of movies, even dramatic ones. And she got her iconic roles in 4 of Christopher Guest's mockumentary films, 3 of which earned her awards and nominations.
I love her in Best of Show so much.
Best
It's
in
like
Show
one
is
of my
I've
favorite
never
movies.
seen it. I have to watch it.
It's so good.
I love when they sing that song about the terrier.
Oh, yeah. It's like, God makes terriers or whatever. And then I
That's so good.
also love like how her bit in the show is that she used to just be like a huge skank. So like whenever she goes anywhere, they'll be like, what's her name? Like Tippy or something? And they'll be like,
know.
they're like, Tippy Hendren? And she would be like, what? And then he'd be like, I'm not wearing underwear. Does that ring a bell? And then she'll be like, Sanchez. It's like the whole movie.
And then they're like the physical comedy in that is also really good. Eugene Levy has 2 left feet, literally, and she like breaks her or she like hurts her leg and like she like has to run to the stage with this like crazy it was just so funny. They're so good at
I need
it.
to watch
She's
that.
like walking her dog, like their terrier's like in like the dog show at the Mayflower dog show, and she like twists her ankle, and then and then Eugene Levy has to walk the dog around the ring, but he like has 2 left feet, like Lisa's saying, so he walks like super weird.
Wait, I love that. That's incredible.
It's so funny. But something I didn't realize was she also worked as a voice artist in a number of animated films. Like she's Sally, the voice of Sally in The Nightmare Before Christmas, which I
Another thing
literally
I
had
haven't
no
seen.
Not
idea.
know that.
You've never seen The Nightmare Before
No,
Christmas?
I know.
That seems odd. But the role most people know her for these days is Moira Rose, the mother on the CBC sitcom Schitt's Creek, who she played until the series ended after 6 seasons. And that role earned her 6 Canadian Screen Awards for Best Lead Actress in a Comedy Series. It's not that common when Canadian TV shows like break through to the American mainstream, as we talked about on our Heated Rivalry episode, but this was quite the feat.
The way she talks on that show too is so funny.
It's so funny.
I think one of my favorite episodes is the one where she is invited to be like the spokesperson of that fruit wine orchard.
Yeah, I think I've one of the few I've seen, I think.
And she
So
gets so drunk and she like
Yeah.
hides in her RV. And then Eugene Levy has to come comfort her. And he's like, you could do this. And then the end of the episode is like the takes of her trying
yeah.
to do the commercial. And it seems normal until she says Herb, what's his name? Like Herb Erglinger or something. And she keeps like messing it up so bad. But for the final season of the show, she swept the 5 major TV awards, winning everything. So what was going on when Schitt's Creek debuted?
So this was January 13th, 2015. The sun was in Capricorn, the moon was in Libra, and then Scorpio. So Scorpio was literally poo, aka shit. Isn't that great?
Oh,
It's not, this isn't to say like Scorpios are poo. It's just that Scorpio is like the ground, the bowels
Digestion.
of stuff. Yeah. So
yeah.
the sun in Capricorn and debuting on TV Guide Network. This is what I remember it being on. I remember like this was the end of watching TV Guide, and then I remember the episodes were on TV Guide Network. Does anyone else remember that when it first came
Oh,
out?
No, it was on like Pop TV, that weird network, and then but it really didn't gain huge popularity until it came to Netflix in 2017.
Okay, I need someone to
So
let me know they
that's-
remember it being on the TV Guide Network.
I don't remember that, but I know the TV Guide channel that you are talking about.
Thank
Where
you. That means a lot.
everything would scroll
Yeah,
under, and then
yes.
at the top
Could
it
be
would just
something.
play a show.
Yeah. So to me, it's like the sun in Capricorn, and like it's like debuting on TV Guide Network or being there, like knowing this product is good and getting it out there by any means
TV
necessary.
Guide.
You know what I mean?
It debuted on Pop TV in Canada. Did it debut on the TV Guide Network?
In America, in Chicago, it was on TV Guide Network. And I remember being so confused the first time I saw it. And I was like, huh, it caught my attention. And the sun is conjunct her natal north node. So it's a fated star moment. Neptune is conjunct her natal Mercury. Neptune brings fame. And this is also like absurd comedy. And that show is absurd. Jupiter is conjunct her natal Pluto in Leo, which enhances her power. It's also in her 6th house. So you're putting work into something and you don't know if it'll pay off, but then it does. Which also relates to Saturn in Sagittarius being in the sign of her natal Mars. This thing will pay off in the long run. It's not necessarily the quickest hit. Like Elise said, it got more popular in 17 when it was on Netflix. And then Uranus and her nodal square. So Uranus is squaring Uranus. The nodes are squaring the nodes. This is huge for like surprises, plot twists, big bangs. It takes off eventually and in a huge way.
Yes. Also, I think there's something interesting about how the transiting moon is on her Neptune, and then also like the transiting Neptune is on her moon. Just because of all the wigs she wears, like she's always wearing so many
absurd.
wigs in the show.
That's really funny.
She wears like a different wig every episode. It's amazing.
Yeah. And then in the hotel room, she has a whole wall of wigs. And when they're coming to take all their property in the first episode, she's like, Matilda can't be next to Rita. And she's like referring to the names of her wigs as they're like, trying to cap them.
Oh God.
So funny.
But in not funny
Yeah.
news, Catherine O'Hara passed away at the age of 71 after experiencing difficulty breathing. And the cause of death was revealed to be a form of a pulmonary embolism with colon cancer as the underlying cause. Oh, she had cancer, or was she just quiet about it, or
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I think when you look at recent photos before she died, she was looking a lot thinner and like more frail.
Yeah, I
So
did notice that. But so what was going on when Catherine O'Hara passed away?
Okay, so Catherine O'Hara died on January 30th, 2026 in Santa Monica. And on this day, the sun was in Aquarius, the moon was in Cancer. It's like a merciful release. It's also weirdo icon status, like really remembering the moon likes to remember moon in Cancer. And then sun in Aquarius is
Yeah.
like so icon,
She
strange
died
icon.
quickly, so that
Yeah.
is like merciful. It wasn't like a prolonged death.
Also related to
isn't
that.
colon cancer pretty bad? Like when you get it?
Yeah, I don't know exactly her struggle with cancer, but the actual death itself was like quick.
Yeah.
Also quick. So Jupiter is conjunct her natal Uranus and South Node in Cancer, which is also a surprise ending, a merciful death. Jupiter being mercy, Uranus and the South Node both relating to endings and death. Uranus literally is like surprise death. And I say this all the time, but I'll say it again. Uranus was very prominent in Kobe's death chart.
Yeah.
And the South Node just
Ooh.
famously being about phasing something out.
Right.
And then eclipse is happening in Pisces with Saturn, the planet of endings and death. And the North Node is conjunct her natal Sun and Mercury. It's the end of Saturn and Pisces at this point. She's eclipsed out of life, but at the same time cemented in time as a legend. The North Node really carries her legacy, but this life cycle is done. She's done it.
Yeah, I do feel like she wasn't as appreciated in life as she was in death.
Sure.
Almost.
I'm going to miss her on the studio.
Yes.
I still haven't watched
It's
that.
really
but I
funny.
heard
Love
it's
it.
funny.
I
You
loved
would
it.
like it.
Yeah, I
think
think
the
you would.
rating's really good. But after news of her passing broke, tons of celebrities and fans came out to pay tributes to her, always saying not just how funny and talented she was, but just like a true joy to be around.
And even after her passing, she's continued to win awards for her roles. In 2025, she had a main role on The Studio, which everyone loves except for me because I haven't seen it. But she won an award for that, and the studio's co-creator, Seth Rogen, accepted the awards that she won on her behalf, and his speech was very sweet. And
Nice.
she was the first woman to win any individual actor awards. They were previously called the SAG Awards, but now they're called the Actor Awards trophy posthumously. I pronounce things the way I read them in my head,
Sure.
and that's why
And that's
there's
okay,
I'm not
because
so
you-
many.
Because you need to spell things correctly for your job. So
Yeah.
that works
I
in your
don't think
favor.
it's embarrassing
Like-
at all. I just think it was funny how you replied after Sarah, after Elise said it. Poff. But she's
Like I
very in
said, like-
Catherine O'Hara's style, to be honest.
No, that's true.
Posthumously. Yeah.
So,
it
like the
was.
word maintenance, I thought it was pronounced maintenance for so long.
Oh, wow.
That's just
Sarah's gonna win the spelling bee, you guys.
You know, I won every spelling bee
Um,
in sixth grade except for one, and it was on the word shepherd, and it still troubles me. Like, in terms of, I always have to think about how to spell shepherd.
I lost the spelling bee with the word thief, and I was like, fuck I before E.
I don't have a traumatic spelling bee story.
Oh.
I'm sure I do, but I just the word doesn't come to mind. But what I loved about in Seth Rogen's speech that he gave on behalf of Catherine O'Hara, another funny Canadian,
Yes,
Seth Rogen, he said he was hesitant to even say this because he didn't want any of the other actors on the show to get any ideas. But he said that like often she would send him rewrites for scenes. But she did it in such like a gracious way of this is great, but here's how it could be better. And he always said that she was right all the time. And I was like, this is
Talk about a
just
situation that
so-
requires people to put their ego down, their ego second to their craft.
Exactly.
That's cool.
Exactly. She's so good in that. You have to watch it, Sarah. And
It's
there's
really funny.
also
Maybe
this
I'll
one
rewatch it.
episode where like him and Dave Franco accidentally, what do they do, Dana, when they like drug themselves and they have to go on stage for, what are those things called when you have to present to advertisers?
I don't remember, but is this the shrooms in Vegas?
The shrooms, yes.
Yeah, that's really funny.
Uh,
And then
that
Bryan
episode was
Cranston,
so good.
Bryan
Oh
Cranston's
my
character,
God.
it's awesome. It's
Bryan
so good.
Cranston's in it too.
Yeah,
The amount of celebrity cameos is insane.
it's really
Yeah, I
good.
have to watch it.
But now we're going to try something new. So normally we like wrap up here and we do some predictions, but we're going to do a little bit more about a specific transit that was relevant to Catherine, but learn about what it means and what it could mean for you. So Dana, teach us. Use this as a teaching moment.
Okay, it's pretty simple. This one's broad, and it's usually a window of 2 years or so. Eclipses in the sign of your natal sun and or moon. For Catherine, her sun and moon are in the same sign. For Sarah and me, we're born on full moons. Those eclipses will be in the same era for us. So for me, this was 2020 and 2021 in Gemini and Sagittarius. And then also it was 2010 through 2012. And both, okay, so in 2020, 2021, this is literally like the summer we started the podcast, which is huge for me. And then in other ones, it's significant relationship plot twists. So like just a lot of things happening in relationships that are huge, monumental, quick relationships that are quick and done. But yeah, also our podcast, it was pretty quick that we put it together. It was COVID, so we didn't have much,
It's true. We
but
just
like,
decided to do it.
yeah, we like planned it in July and it was out in August.
Let's talk a bit about eclipses, though, like,
Okay.
because I feel like people are familiar with eclipses when they're able to see them and when news outlets talk about them. But what is an eclipse in astrology?
Okay, an eclipse. So it's when the sun and the moon, when there's a new moon, so the sun and moon in the same sign, or a full moon, the sun and moon in opposite signs, are close to the nodes. The nodes are called the nodes of fate. There's the head of the dragon and the tail of the dragon. That's the south node. The north node's the head. The north node consumes, the south node just gets rid of, it shits. Shits Creek. And these are like huge times of fate. They're, in my opinion, I think the most concise way I like to explain them is that it's the quickest humans really get to time travel in terms of like how quickly your life can change. And like it's just fated. Like also like how quickly your life changes really without much of your input, your action.
And you could find it in your chart. It looks like a little arch. Like the north node is like a little, I don't know how to describe it other than that little arch symbol.
Yeah, it's
like a curve.
and then the opposite,
symbol.
they're an axis.
Like an
So-
upside down horseshoe almost?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So they're an axis. The north node is the upside down. The south node is, they're both horseshoes.
The north node is like
The upside
half
down one.
of an N, like a half of a lowercase n is like what it looks
I
like.
think we're-
And then the south node is a U. Like I don't know.
It just, yeah, no, I mean, all you have to do is like Google. Like this is one case where,
It would be better
The
to
internet
look at
will
it,
just
but
help
I'm
you.
trying to describe it.
no, yeah,
without-
it's good that you
Yes.
do. We need people to be describing things more and more. Truly. But yeah, so this is your life just changes overnight. And they're like really big changes. Then eclipse I broke my hip right before the eclipse. So during eclipse, the eclipse was opening and it was an eclipse conjunct my natal north node.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, because you have nodes natally in your chart in houses, and that is showing like the direction your life is supposed to go in, or like kind of things you're supposed to learn in this life. And your south node represents your past lives and things, characteristics that you have already mastered. But then outside of that, the nodes are always like moving around your chart, like the planets do.
Yeah.
So when Dana's saying, like, for Catherine, she had the transiting north node on her moon and sun.
Moon, sun, Venus, and Mercury.
Yeah, so that's
for
a
lot of them.
lot.
Also, really like to build on that, like the north node is obsession. The south node can be like what's taken for granted. You need to strike the balance between them. You need to be obsessed enough to learn about something new and be willing to step out. And then you also need to lean on what makes you comfortable. But also, sorry, you don't really have any control over the nodes or the eclipses. That's the part that makes it so intense. And
Yeah.
if you hear about eclipse season, it's like what's going to happen. In ancient times, they would stay inside because of the baleful rays. I thought the rays were toxic. And maybe they are. I used to, and now I go outside because now I'm crazy. I don't know. I'm just so crazy. I go outside during an eclipse.
And also, too, just because for Catherine, the eclipse signaled the end of her life,
The
that is
beginning
not
of
always
her
the
big career
case.
when Beetlejuice.
Yes. Yes, it was. So you could see it's not always bad. It's just life changing. Like when they were on my sun and on my moon, it was transiting my 4th house and my 10th house. I suddenly moved. Like I got a new job and I suddenly moved to a city I never thought I would ever to. And it was one of those things where like even though I was dragging my feet, no matter what I did to try and stop it, like the path kept going and I kept being
going.
pushed. Yeah.
Took
So
your
I feel
Polish
like it
ass to
is
Miami.
yeah. But I was doing everything. I was asking for so much more money than they were like willing to pay me, like whatever I could to hope they would say no. And they just kept saying yes. And I was like, no. I like asked my parents. I normally never would ask my parents about this. I was like, "Do you think I should move?" Hoping they would say no. And they're like, "Yeah, this sounds great. Go do it." And I was like, "Oh my god, why?"
That's so
Oh,
funny.
God.
And you moved during eclipse
Yeah.
season too.
And then Elise, what happened to you?
For me, I got engaged and married,
Oh yeah.
and I left a long-time job, tried freelancing, did a little bit of a career pivot, got a new job, got
You also met your
pregnant.
husband while
Oh,
the
wait,
eclipse
no,
was
I
on your
didn't get
moon.
pregnant.
There was an eclipse on your
Oh, yeah,
moon
I did get
in
pregnant.
June 2020, and then you met your husband September 2020.
Yes,
Oh.
I did.
That's so
indeed.
cool.
Yes. So that was my eclipse story. So major life changes. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, so always look where the transiting eclipses are in your chart and see if they're hitting any planets or any important points, because that could be signifying some changes. Because every time an eclipse happens, it doesn't mean it's going to affect you directly.
Need to know that.
You need to
Yeah.
know that.
So whenever there's an
Every eclipse
yeah.
is not going to be scary.
I don't even count eclipses like if they're trine or sextile. I just do, and even square. I'm like, but conjunctions and oppositions are the really main aspects of the eclipse, where the moon is to your natal chart.
So
Yeah.
now we know. And if you notice that you had significant life changes when the eclipse was conjunct or opposite one of your planets, let us know.
Truly,
Let us know.
hit us up.
All right. That's all for Catherine O'Hara episode, and I hope you guys learned something about eclipses. I'm Elise.
I'm Dana.
And I'm Sarah.
And this is Allegedly Astrology.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.